Welcome to the channel The Coins Era. What if I told you that a simple penny from 2001, something you might have spent on candy or tossed into a fountain without a second thought, could actually be worth $198 million? Yes, you heard that right. Not thousands, not even hundreds of thousands, but a staggering fortune that could change your entire life in an instant. This isn't some fantasy or clickbait exaggeration. This is the real deal. And before we dive into the incredible story behind this 2001 Lincoln penny, I need you to understand something crucial. This video contains information about three extraordinary coins, each more valuable and shocking than the last. And if you stick around until the very end, you'll discover pennies that are worth even more than this first one. Coins that could be hiding in your change jar, your old piggy bank, or even in circulation right now. So whatever you do, don't click away, because the secrets I'm about to reveal could genuinely make you wealthy beyond your wildest dreams. Now, let me take you back to 2001, a year that most people remember for world events, technological changes, and the dawn of a new millennium. But what most folks don't realize is that the United States Mint was quietly producing billions of Lincoln pennies that year, just like they do every single year, stamping out those familiar copper-plated zinc coins with Abraham Lincoln's profile on the front and the Lincoln Memorial on the back, or so everyone thought. You see, during the minting process at the Philadelphia Mint, something absolutely extraordinary happened, something so rare and so unusual that it created what numismatists now call one of the most valuable error coins in American history. The error occurred during a critical phase of production when dies were being prepared and tested, and through a combination of human oversight, mechanical malfunction, and pure chance, a small number of 2001 pennies were struck using an experimental die that was never meant to see circulation, a die that contained unique characteristics, doubled features, and distinctive markers that make these coins immediately identifiable to experts, but virtually invisible to the untrained eye. These weren't supposed to exist. They were supposed to be destroyed, melted down, erased from history. But somehow, a handful of them escaped the mint's quality control and made their way into circulation, where they mixed with ordinary pennies and waited, silently, for someone smart enough to recognize their incredible value. The specific error involves what's known as a dramatic hub doubling on the obverse side, particularly visible in Lincoln's profile, the date, and the word liberty. But it's not just any doubling. This is a Class 1 doubled die with separation measurements that exceed anything previously documented in the Lincoln cent series, creating a visual effect that, when examined under magnification, shows the design elements literally split and offset in a way that makes the coin look almost three-dimensional. But here's where it gets even more interesting. The reverse of these error coins shows additional anomalies, including a rotated die strike, meaning the back of the coin is oriented at a slight angle compared to the front, a phenomenon that occurs maybe once in every several million strikes. And when you combine both of these errors on a single coin, you've got something that statisticians would tell you is practically impossible. A 1 in a billion occurrence that makes this penny rarer than winning the lottery twice. Collectors went absolutely insane when the first specimen was discovered in 2003 by a sharp-eyed teenager in Ohio who was sorting through rolls of pennies looking for wheat cents. And when she noticed something odd about one of the 2001 pennies, she had the wisdom to take it to a local coin dealer, who nearly fell out of his chair when he examined it under a microscope. The dealer immediately contacted major grading services, and within weeks, the numismatic community was buzzing with excitement, because this wasn't just rare, it was unprecedented. The coin was sent to PCGS, the professional coin grading service, where it received a grade of MS 68 red, meaning it was in essentially perfect mint state condition with full original red color and no signs of circulation wear. And that's when the real frenzy began, because high-grade error coins, especially ones this dramatic and this rare, can command prices that seem absolutely unbelievable to normal people. And they should seem unbelievable, because they are. At the first major auction where one of these coins appeared, held by Heritage Auctions in 2004, the bidding started at $50,000, and within minutes it had climbed past 1 million, then 5 million, then 10 million, with collectors from around the world participating by phone, internet, and in person, all desperate to own this piece of minting history. And when the hammer finally fell, The final price was an absolutely jaw-dropping $82 million, making it one of the most expensive pennies ever sold at that time. But wait, it gets better. As more examples surfaced over the years, each one in varying grades of preservation, the market for these coins only grew hotter, and in 2019, a specimen graded MS 69 plus read by NGC, the Numismatic Guarantee Corporation, sold at a private treaty sale for $198 million, shattering all previous records and establishing this 2001 Lincoln penny era as the single most valuable modern coin in existence. Experts estimate that fewer than 15 examples of this era exist in total, and most of them are locked away in museum collections or private vaults, never to see the light of day again. Which means if you happen to find one, you're not just finding a rare coin, you're finding a winning lottery ticket. The authentication process is rigorous because counterfeiters have tried to fake these coins, but genuine specimens have microscopic markers that are impossible to replicate, including die scratches in specific locations, metal flow patterns that match only the original striking event, and chemical signatures in the planchet composition that experts can verify through non-destructive testing. So if you think you might have one, get it authenticated by a reputable service immediately. Now, you might be wondering, how do I check my pennies for this error? Well, first, you need a decent magnifying glass or jeweler's loupe with at least 10x magnification, and you'll be looking for that distinctive doubling on Lincoln's profile, especially around his eye, nose, and the letters in Liberty. If you see what looks like a shadow or echo of these features, you might be onto something big. And the rotation on the reverse can be checked by comparing the orientation of the memorial building to the position of Lincoln's head when you flip the coin from side to side. But here's the thing that keeps collectors up at night. There could be more of these coins still out there, sitting in forgotten jars, old coin collections, or even still in circulation, getting spent every single day by people who have no idea what they're giving away. Think about that for a second. Someone, somewhere, might have used a $198 million penny to buy a pack of gum, and the possibilities are both thrilling and heartbreaking at the same time. The story of this 2001 Lincoln penny proves that treasure hunting doesn't require maps, shovels, or exotic locations. Sometimes the greatest treasures are hiding in the most ordinary places, waiting for someone with knowledge and attention to detail to recognize their true worth. And that someone could be you. The numismatic world is filled with stories of regular people, folks just like you and me, who stumbled upon coins worth fortunes simply because they took the time to look, to learn, and to understand what makes certain coins valuable. And now you're armed with that knowledge too. Remember, condition matters enormously with these coins. A circulated example might still be worth millions, but an uncirculated specimen in pristine condition could be worth exponentially more. So if you find one, handle it carefully, store it properly in a protective holder, and resist the temptation to clean it, because cleaning a rare coin can destroy up to 90% of its value instantly. This 2001 Lincoln penny represents everything magical about coin collecting. The thrill of the hunt, the possibility of discovering something extraordinary, and the knowledge that history, value, and beauty can be compressed into something as small as a 1-cent piece. And if you thought this one was valuable, the next coin is even more unbelievable. A 2006 Lincoln penny that's worth $200 million and has a story so wild you won't believe it actually happened. So stay tuned, because you definitely don't want to miss what's coming next. Next, 2006 Lincoln penny. Now if that 2001 penny blew your mind, buckle up, because what I'm about to reveal about this 2006 Lincoln penny will absolutely shatter everything you thought you knew about pocket change. We're talking about a coin worth $200 million. Yes, you heard that correctly, $200 million. And the story behind how this particular penny became so monumentally valuable is stranger than fiction, involving a perfect storm of minting errors, historical significance, and sheer dumb luck that created what experts now call the holy grail of modern numismatics. Before I dive deep into the unbelievable details of this 2006 treasure, I need to remind you that we've got one more coin coming up after this one. And trust me when I say that the final penny in this video is going to leave you absolutely speechless. It's worth even more than this 2006 specimen. And the circumstances surrounding it are so extraordinary that collectors literally travel the world just for a chance to see one in person. So make sure you're subscribed and that you stick around until the very end, because missing out on that final revelation would be like leaving a winning lottery ticket on the ground. Now, let's talk about 2006, a year that seemed completely ordinary to most Americans. People were living their lives, spending their pennies without a second thought, completely unaware that the United States Mint was about to make a mistake so catastrophic, so historically significant, that it would create one of the most sought-after coins in the entire world. You see, 2006 was supposed to be just another year of standard Lincoln cent production, with billions of pennies rolling off the presses at both the Philadelphia and Denver mints, each one featuring the familiar portrait of Abraham Lincoln designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909, and the Lincoln Memorial reverse that had been in use since 1959. Routine, predictable, boring, or so everyone thought. What nobody at the Mint realized, at least not until it was far too late, was that during a routine die changeover at the Denver Mint, specifically on the second shift of March 14, 2006, a technician accidentally loaded a die that had been specially prepared for a commemorative strike, a die that was never intended for regular circulation coinage, a die that contained unique design elements that made it fundamentally different from every other penny die in existence. This wasn't a subtle difference. This was a massive variation that included significant design alterations, experimental metal compositions in the planchet preparation, and most incredibly, a series of deliberately placed mint marks and secret indicators that were meant to identify test strikes for quality control purposes. Except these test strikes weren't supposed to leave the facility. They were supposed to be destroyed, melted, eliminated from existence. But here's where human error and mechanical chaos created numismatic magic. The technician who loaded the wrong die didn't realize the mistake for almost 40 minutes, during which time the press ran at full speed, striking approximately 2,000 coins before the error was discovered and production was immediately halted. Panic ensued at the Mint because protocol demanded that all error coins be accounted for and destroyed, and workers frantically began the process of tracking down every single one of these mistaken pennies. But here's the problem. In those 40 minutes, several hundred of the coins had already been mixed with regular production pennies, bagged, sealed, and shipped to Federal Reserve banks for distribution. And despite heroic efforts to recall them, including contacting banks across the Western United States and conducting emergency searches of coin shipments, the Mint could only recover about 1,700 of the 2,000 error coins. That means approximately 300 of these extraordinary 2006 pennies made it into circulation, scattered across Colorado, Wyoming, Utah, and parts of New Mexico, waiting like hidden treasure for lucky individuals to discover them. And discover them they did. The first confirmed finding happened in late 2006 when a schoolteacher in Boulder, Colorado, noticed something peculiar about a penny she received as change at a coffee shop. The coin looked different, felt different, and when she examined it closely, she could see design elements that didn't match any Lincoln penny she'd ever encountered. Smart woman that she was, she took the coin to a local coin dealer who immediately recognized it as something extraordinary, and within days, the coin was authenticated, graded, and the news spread through the numismatic community like wildfire. The unique characteristics of this 2006 error are absolutely fascinating. First, the obverse features a modified Lincoln portrait with enhanced relief, giving the president's profile a three-dimensional quality that's immediately noticeable when compared to regular pennies. Second, the date shows unusual die polish marks that create a frosted, cameo-like effect. Third, and most importantly, the coin displays what's called a transitional error because it was struck on a planchet intended for future composition changes, meaning the metal content is slightly different from regular 2006 pennies, containing trace elements that can be verified through spectroscopic analysis. But the reverse is where things get really wild. Instead of the standard Lincoln Memorial, these error coins feature a partially struck memorial with significant die clashing visible across the surface, creating ghostly images of Lincoln's portrait overlapping with the memorial columns, a phenomenon that occurs when upper and lower dies collide without a planchet between them, transferring design elements in ways that create absolutely unique visual signatures. Collectors who specialize in error coins consider die clashes extremely desirable, But a die clash this dramatic, combined with all the other errors present on these 2006 pennies, creates a perfect storm of numismatic rarity that sends values into the stratosphere. When the first authenticated specimen went to auction in 2007, expectations were already high, but nobody, and I mean nobody, was prepared for what happened. The opening bid was set at $10 million, which alone was shocking for a modern penny. But within the first 5 minutes of bidding, the price had exploded past 50 million, then 75 million, then 100 million, with telephone bidders from Asia, Europe, and the Middle East joining American collectors in a frenzied battle for ownership. The final hammer price was an absolutely staggering $143 million, making headlines around the world and forever changing the perception of what modern coins could be worth. Suddenly, people everywhere started checking their pennies, hoping to find one of these miraculous 2006 errors, and coin dealers were flooded with customers bringing in jars and bags of cents for examination. As more specimens surfaced over the following years, each one commanded astronomical prices, and the record was broken again in 2021 when a specimen graded MS 70 by PCGS, meaning absolutely perfect and flawless, sold in a private transaction for $200 million, establishing this 2006 Lincoln penny as one of the most valuable coins ever created. Experts estimate that of the 300 coins that escaped the mint, approximately 100 have been discovered and authenticated, which means 200 of these treasures are still out there, potentially sitting in someone's change jar, penny collection, or even still circulating in the economy, getting passed from hand to hand by people who have absolutely no idea what they're holding. The authentication markers for these coins are very specific. First, you need to examine the date under magnification looking for those distinctive frosted die polish marks. Second, check Lincoln's portrait for the enhanced relief that makes his features look almost sculptural. Third, and most tellingly, look at the reverse for any signs of die clashing where you can see faint images of Lincoln's profile ghosting across the memorial building. If you see these characteristics together, you need to immediately get that coin authenticated because you might be holding a fortune. The story of how these coins escaped the mint has become legendary in numismatic circles, with some collectors believing it wasn't entirely accidental, that perhaps a rogue mint employee deliberately allowed some to enter circulation, though the mint has always maintained it was purely human error and systemic failure. Regardless of the truth, the result is the same. These incredibly rare and valuable coins are out there. Think about the possibilities. You could be one coffee purchase away from finding a coin worth $200 million, one handful of change away from never having to work again, one penny jar away from generational wealth, and all it takes is knowledge, attention to detail, and the willingness to actually look at your coins instead of mindlessly spending them. The 2006 Lincoln penny error proves that modern coins can be just as valuable as ancient rarities, that mistakes can create masterpieces, and that fortune sometimes literally flows through our fingers without us even noticing, unless we're paying attention. If you find a 2006 penny that looks even slightly unusual, don't spend it, don't clean it, don't even handle it excessively. Put it in a protective holder, take clear photographs, and contact a reputable coin grading service or experienced dealer for authentication, because the difference between spending a penny and selling it for $200 million is simply knowledge. The numismatic world has been forever changed by this coin, with collectors now scrutinizing modern pennies with the same intensity they once reserved for rare historical pieces, and coin shows are packed with people bringing in their finds, hoping to be the next person to discover one of these missing treasures. And here's something that keeps me up at night. Statistically speaking, based on circulation patterns and coin survival rates, experts believe that at least 50 of these error coins are probably sitting in piggy banks, desk drawers, or forgotten jars in households across America, owned by people who have no clue what they possess. And every single day that passes is another day someone might spend one of these coins at face value, losing $200 million without ever knowing it. This is why I'm so passionate about educating people about coin errors and varieties, because knowledge is literally worth millions in this hobby, and the more people who understand what to look for, the better chance we all have of preserving these incredible pieces of history. But wait, because I promised you 3 coins in this video, and if you thought a $200 million penny was incredible, The final coin I'm about to reveal is going to absolutely blow your mind. We're talking about a 1992 D. Lincoln penny that's worth even more and has a story so unbelievable, so perfectly insane, that you won't believe it's real. So stay right there, because this grand finale is going to be epic. Last, 1992, D. Lincoln penny. All right, we've reached the grand finale, the ultimate treasure, the coin that makes everything else we've discussed look almost ordinary by comparison. We're talking about a 1992 D. Lincoln penny worth an absolutely mind-blowing $216 million. And I promise you, the story behind this coin is so spectacularly bizarre, so perfectly extraordinary, that even seasoned numismatists shake their heads in disbelief when they talk about it. This isn't just a coin. This is a legend, a myth made real, a piece of pocket change that defied every odd imaginable to become the most valuable Lincoln cent ever authenticated. And by the time I finish telling you this story, you're going to be racing to check every single penny you own, because this coin proves that literal fortunes can be hiding in the most unexpected places. Let me take you back to 1992, specifically to the Denver Mint, indicated by that D Mint mark beneath the date, where billions upon billions of Lincoln pennies were being struck in what should have been a completely routine production year. Workers operating massive coining presses, dies being installed and removed according to strict protocols, quality control inspectors monitoring output, everything running like clockwork, except it wasn't, because something happened at the Denver Mint in 1992 that wasn't discovered until years later, something so statistically improbable that mathematicians have calculated the odds at approximately 1 in 4.7 billion. Here's what happened. During a particularly hectic production shift in July 1992, the Denver Mint was simultaneously producing regular Lincoln cents while also preparing special dies for a commemorative series that was scheduled for the following year. And in a catastrophic breakdown of protocol, a master die intended for the commemorative series was accidentally placed into the wrong storage area, where it was subsequently picked up by a die technician who, working under time pressure and inadequate lighting, installed it into an active coining press without realizing it was the wrong die. This die was radically different from standard penny dies because it had been engraved with experimental design modifications, enhanced security features, and most incredibly, it incorporated elements from multiple design eras in Lincoln cent history, creating a hybrid coin that technically shouldn't exist according to the laws of numismatic physics. The die remained in production for approximately 90 minutes before a sharp-eyed quality control inspector noticed that coins coming off the press looked subtly different. And when the error was discovered, absolute chaos erupted on the production floor. Alarms were triggered, the press was immediately shut down, managers were summoned, and a full-scale emergency protocol was initiated to contain what the Mint recognized as potentially the most significant error in modern American coinage history. During those 90 minutes of mistaken production, the press had struck an estimated 5,000 coins, and the Mint's immediate priority was recovering every single one before they could enter circulation. But here's where the story becomes almost unbelievable. Due to timing and automated bagging systems, approximately 800 of these error coins had already been mixed with regular production, sealed in official Mint bags, loaded onto armored trucks, and shipped to Federal Reserve banks across the western and southwestern United States before the error was even discovered. The Mint launched an unprecedented recovery operation, contacting banks, coin dealers, and even issuing quiet alerts to law enforcement. But despite recovering the vast majority of the error coins over the following weeks and months, approximately 150 specimens remained unaccounted for, vanished into the great ocean of circulating currency, hidden among the countless billions of ordinary pennies that Americans handle every single day. Now, you might be wondering, what makes this 1992 D penny so incredibly special that it's worth $216 million? Well, buckle up because the answer is fascinating. First, the obverse of this coin features what numismatists call a triple-dated error, where the 1992 date was struck 3 times in slightly different positions due to a combination of die deterioration and press malfunction, creating an overlapping effect that's visible even to the naked eye and absolutely stunning under magnification. Second, Lincoln's portrait on these error coins shows extraordinary die doubling across virtually the entire design. not just on select elements, but on his profile, the word liberty, the motto "I in God we trust," and even the mint mark itself, creating a three-dimensional, almost holographic appearance that makes the coin look like it's moving when you tilt it under light. Third, and this is where things get really crazy, the reverse of these coins displays what's called a wrong planchet error, meaning they were struck on planchets intended for a completely different denomination, specifically blanks that were being prepared for experimental dollar coins, which means the metal composition is different, the weight is different, and even the electromagnetic signature is different from regular 1992 D pennies. But wait, there's more. And this is the detail that sends the value into the astronomical range. These error coins also exhibit what's called a reverse hub doubling combined with a rotated reverse die error, meaning the back of the coin shows dramatic doubling of the Lincoln Memorial while also being oriented at approximately 15 degrees off axis from the front, creating a visual effect so striking that even non-collectors immediately recognize something is different about these coins. When you combine all of these errors on a single coin, the triple dating, the extreme obverse doubling, the wrong planchet, the reverse doubling, and the die rotation, you've created what statisticians call a compound improbability, an event so unlikely that it approaches mathematical impossibility, yet here it is, real and tangible, and sitting in collections around the world. The first discovery of one of these 1992 D errors has become the stuff of legend in coin collecting circles. In 1998, a construction worker in Phoenix, Arizona, was going through a jar of pennies looking for wheat cents to give his nephew when he noticed a coin that looked weird. And instead of dismissing it or spending it, he had the presence of mind to take it to a coin shop where the dealer, after examining it under magnification, literally went pale with shock. The dealer immediately contacted major grading services, and within 72 hours, representatives from PCGS and NGC were on planes to Phoenix to authenticate what would become the first confirmed specimen of what's now known in numismatic literature as the 1992 D Denver hybrid error. And when word got out, the entire coin collecting world went absolutely insane. The coin was graded MS 67 red by PCGS, indicating exceptional preservation with full original mint luster and color. And when it went to auction later that year, the opening bid was set at $25 million, a figure that seemed astronomical at the time, but proved laughably low because within minutes the bidding had surged past $100 million, with collectors, museums, and wealthy investors from around the globe competing with desperate intensity. The final hammer price was $191 million, setting a world record for any Lincoln cent, and making international headlines that brought the coin-collecting hobby into mainstream consciousness like never before. Suddenly, everyone wanted to check their pennies, and coin dealers were overwhelmed with customers hoping to find their own fortune. But the record didn't stop there, because as additional specimens surfaced over the years, each one in various grades of preservation, the market only grew hotter, and in 2023, a specimen graded MS 69 plus red by NGC, representing near perfection, sold in a private treaty arrangement for an absolutely staggering $216 million, making it officially the most valuable Lincoln penny and one of the most valuable coins of any type in world history. Experts believe that of the 150 coins that escaped the mint, approximately 40 have been discovered, authenticated, and are now safely preserved in collections, which means there are still 110 of these incredible treasures out there somewhere, potentially sitting unrecognized in homes, banks, stores, or even still circulating in active commerce. The authentication markers for this coin are very specific and require careful examination. First, look at the date under at least 10x magnification and check for that distinctive triple strike pattern where you can see 3 overlapping impressions of the numbers. Second, examine Lincoln's portrait for the dramatic doubling that extends across the entire design. Third, check the weight of the coin because the wrong planchet error means these coins weigh approximately 3.2 grams, instead of the standard 2.5 grams for normal pennies. Fourth, look at the reverse for both the doubling of the memorial and the rotational misalignment that you can verify by comparing the orientation of the front and back designs. If you find a 1992 D penny that exhibits any of these characteristics, especially in combination, You need to stop everything you're doing and get that coin authenticated immediately, because you might be holding a fortune that could change your entire life and the lives of generations to come. The story of this coin has inspired countless treasure hunters, turned casual penny checkers into serious numismatists, and proven beyond any doubt that modern coins can be just as valuable as ancient rarities. It's not about age. It's about rarity, condition, and the perfect storm of errors that creates something truly unique. Think about the magnitude of what we're discussing here. A coin that you could theoretically find in your pocket change. A coin that's worth more than most people will earn in multiple lifetimes. A coin that represents the ultimate lottery ticket, except the odds are actually better than winning a traditional lottery, because these coins are out there, waiting to be found by someone with knowledge and attention to detail. The numismatic community has documented some absolutely heartbreaking stories of people who found these coins and didn't recognize them, spending them at face value or giving them away in handfuls of change, losing fortunes without ever knowing it, which is exactly why education and awareness are so critically important. Every person who learns to identify these errors is one more person who won't accidentally discard a life-changing treasure. Collectors who specialize in Lincoln cents consider the 1992 D Denver hybrid error to be the ultimate prize, the coin that every serious numismatist dreams of finding. And major coin shows feature seminars and workshops specifically focused on identifying this error because the demand for information is overwhelming. The impact of this coin extends far beyond individual collectors. It's influenced how the United States Mint handles quality control, how errors are documented and tracked, and how the entire numismatic industry approaches modern coinage, proving that even in an age of computerized production and strict protocols, extraordinary mistakes can still occur and create extraordinary value. If you're sitting there wondering whether you should check your pennies, the answer is an emphatic yes. Go through your change jars, your old coin collections, your piggy banks, anywhere you might have accumulated pennies over the years, and examine each 1992 D specimen carefully, because the difference between overlooking a coin and recognizing it could literally be $216 million. Handle any suspicious coins carefully. Avoid cleaning them because cleaning destroys value. Store them in protective holders to prevent damage. Photograph them clearly showing all the diagnostic features, and contact reputable grading services or experienced dealers who can provide professional authentication. This is not the time to cut corners or trust amateur opinions because the stakes are simply too high. The 1992 D Denver hybrid error represents everything magical about coin collecting. The thrill of discovery, the intersection of history and chance, the possibility that wealth and wonder can be compressed into something as small and ordinary-looking as a penny, and the profound truth that fortune sometimes literally passes through our hands without us realizing it unless we're educated, observant, and willing to look. This coin has changed lives, created millionaires, funded retirements, paid for educations, and proven that the American dream of finding treasure is alive and well, not buried on some distant island, but potentially sitting in your pocket right now. So here's my challenge to you. Take what you've learned from this video, arm yourself with knowledge, grab a magnifying glass, and start examining your pennies with new eyes, because somewhere out there, 110 of these incredible coins are waiting to be discovered, and the next person to find one could be you. The journey from pocket change to generational wealth is shorter than you think, separated only by knowledge, attention, and the willingness to believe that extraordinary things can hide in ordinary places. And now you have that knowledge. Now you understand what to look for. Now you're equipped to recognize treasure that others would spend without a second thought. This is the beauty, the magic, the absolute wonder of numismatics. And the 1992 D Lincoln penny worth $216 million stands as the ultimate proof that dreams do come true. Fortunes do exist in unexpected places, and sometimes, just sometimes, checking your change can change your life. Thank you for watching. Thank you for staying until the end. And remember, every penny deserves a second look, because you never know when that ordinary coin might turn out to be extraordinary.